Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers! From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Las Vegas where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry, we'll voice it for you. We talk about everything on It's Time. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, film, TV. You name it, we talk about it. I'm here with my co-host, TJ DeSantis. TJ, another week gone by. How are you? We've been busy. So
I'm good.
All good?
I'm good, Buff. How are you?
I'm good. I'm checking out the Howlerhead t-shirt. Gotta get you a puncher's chance t-shirt, TJ.
I agree. Maybe I can get one of these new
on your chest.
There you go. Maybe I can get one of these new t-shirts that our guest is selling online. He's got some new styles. They're looking good.
Yeah, speaking of which, I want to talk about that. Everybody, I'm here with TJ. We all know TJ, my partner, my co-host, my producer, 16, 17, 18, 20 million years, whatever it's been. But we have a very special guest and friend of the show we've had on many times before, Belal Muhammad. Remember that name, folks, because he's fighting for the championship here in a couple weeks in Manchester, England. Belal, how's it feel to be in there ready to go and put that gold all around your waist?
What's up, my brother? Man, honestly, it's like a dream that's finally here, right? It's the finish line is here. Like we've gone through the full long journey. We had
nothing like saying you're sorry before you disappear.
Yeah, we've had the ups, the downs, the maybes. Is going to happen? It's not going to happen. But now that we're finally here, 2 weeks away, I just can't wait.
I can imagine. And, listen, you're fighting a very tough cat in Leon Edwards. We all know that. And Leon, he's known for his stand-up, for his striking abilities. You're known for your striking abilities, but also your ground and pound game, your ground game, which is magnificent. You want to stand with this champion, Belal? Got any information you want to feed us on how your game plan is going to go for this fight, or you want to leave it alone and we'll watch when it happens?
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people are underestimating what I'm capable of doing, right? I've gone into every fight with a different version of myself. You've seen me strike, you've seen me grapple, and even now with fans and trolls that'll be like, oh, you're just going to hug him and hold him and this. And I'm like, my last two fights, I haven't shot one takedown. I dominated Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady both on the feet. So I think that people are going to be in for a big surprise when they see what I'm going to come with this fight.
Well, I know that one thing for you, Belal, you're a very cerebral fighter. You're a very cerebral guy, period. So you're going to think this fight out, and I'm sure you've got a game plan together. And obviously, I'm always made the best man win, but I have certain favorites in life, and I wish you all the greatness, and I'll be there to announce you. I'm going to be in Manchester. From there, I'm going to go on to Abu Dhabi. Got 10 days in Europe to spend doing all this. So make my time worthwhile. Bring that exciting fight to the table, my man.
You already know. I mean, I just have it in a dream set. Every day I'm waking up thinking, and new from Bruce. So I'm going to make it a reality.
I'll practice curious. So that way the whole world does what? They remember the name. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Remember the name. So, Belal, aside from your upcoming big fight, which, again, to be repetitive, I'm very excited to see and to announce, of course. Did you watch the Nate Diaz boxing match with Jorge Masvidal?
Yeah, I watched it. Obviously, I wanted to see that whole card. The Anthony Pettis fight that was on there, then Nate Diaz and Masvidal. It was a pretty good match, the Nate Diaz and Masvidal, right? They both brought it, and it was better even than the top ranked fight that was on ESPN with Shakur Stevenson. Like I like them two, and I'm excited. I hope they do a trilogy.
How did you score it, Belal?
For me, honestly, I thought that Masvidal landed the harder shots. I thought that Nate was maybe throwing a little bit more volume, but I mean, I think Jorge landed the cleaner shots, the harder shots, And I would have gave it to Jorge, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you, Buff. Did you watch it? Did you have a scorecard?
Yeah, I watched it just to give a little insight. I did it off the Famio app,
Mm-hmm.
and it froze on me. Did it
Oh,
freeze
wow.
on you?
You should have bought it on UFC Fight Pass.
That's where I should have bought it, but on the Famio app, it froze. I actually had to go to Fight Pass to finish watching it.
Yeah.
So maybe I paid twice. I don't know. I'll find out when my credit card bill comes in.
I think I know a guy. We'll get you your money back. But I'm curious, what your thoughts, guys, were on it. Because, like you said, Belal, I thought that Jorge landed the stronger shots. I thought down the stretch he came on strong. But to have one judge, go 8-2 on the cards, while another one went 5-5 across the board, having it a draw. To me, it just feels like in these close boxing matches, we have wider margins. Like, people talk about the MMA judging not being on point, but I feel like those judges, at least they're only, maybe disagreeing on one round across the board. But to have, multiple, 8 rounds, 5 rounds, different from the next judge over, it's inexplicable to me. I don't understand how there can be so much difference in what is judged as effective.
Well, it's always a question when it comes to the hands of the judges. As Dana White always said, never put it in the hands of the judges. In boxing, in this situation, what you have here is, yes, I did watch the fight. Was I entertained? Yes, I was definitely entertained by the fight. Were they fighting like two crisp professional boxers? Not really. Okay. Jorge Masvidal was the one with the straighter down the pipe punches. He definitely had a right cross. Nate, who I spoke to, after the fight, we talked, and I did a special recording for him in his walkout. I don't know if you heard my voice.
I did. I didn't know if you did that for him, Buff, or if they were just lifting it from
I did
old
that
UFC
for him.
footage.
Nate actually contacted me and wanted me to enhance it with the way I said it and the special way that I said it. And you know what? I've known Dave for years. There's no way I'm going to turn him down. Of course I did.
I'm happy to hear that, because when I heard it on the broadcast, I'm like, shit, someone's getting sued.
Well, it didn't say it's time. It did say the one, the only, which I've only said twice for two people in the UFC octagon. But for Nate walking into the boxing ring and accomplishing all he's accomplished in his life, he definitely deserved that walking into that boxing match on Saturday.
So I got a question. Let's figure this out here. If Belal Muhammad walks out of Manchester, the new UFC welterweight champion, Belal, would you give Buffer permission when he announces you and new Belal, now you know the name Muhammad?
That would be sick.
I don't know if the UFC is going to go for that. You got to get the UFC okay on that one. I still think if I just say Belal, remember the name. That it's just such a great nickname. I think it connotates everything we're trying to do.
Now you know the name. It's etched in history forever.
Yeah, but here's the thing, TJ, and again, it's up for question, but announcers are supposed to say stay non-biased, right? As much as excited I will be for Belal, but still the possibilities.
It's after he won, Buff. It's only if he wins. That's not biased.
It doesn't matter. All we need is a strong and new. That's all I care about. We're good at that.
And new is where it's at.
Buffer's not letting me have any
Remember
fun
the
over
name
here,
is
Belal.
fine. Remember the name is his authorized nickname by UFC, and that's what I got to go by. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's make that call when the moment happens. When the moment happens, for sure.
There you go.
Getting back to the Nate Diaz question. The fight was exciting. It was Nate throwing punches and bunches, not a ton of power. Masvidal having the power shots. I will say that this historically was a great fight for Nate. It's the first time I ever saw him get hit so many times and not bleed.
That's very true, right? But I think
he didn't bleed.
Nate and Chris Avila, they both had that weird style where they just punch your arms, whereas his volume punching arms, but they're both like triathletes. So I think that was the difference. I think they just had a little bit more cardio than Anthony and George.
A lot more. Well, the triathlete athletic status showed them, both of them, to go 10 boxing rounds, 10 3-minute rounds. But, we got to do the analogy. We have 5 5-minute rounds in a championship fight, which is 25 minutes. We have 10 3-minute rounds in a 10-round boxing fight, which is 30 minutes. Either way, you've got to be cardio strong. Either way. Yeah. Without question.
The old WEC fighter, Leonard Garcia, earned a lot of split decision victories because he had a quantity over quality type approach to MMA. That's generally not a good strategy in combat sports. However, when you are two guys like you mentioned, Belal, Chris Avila and Nate Diaz, I think quantity over quality can actually win you a lot of fights, and maybe that was the case for both of those guys last Saturday.
Could be. The bottom line is, it was good to see Nate win. Is it worth a trilogy fight? You said you would like to see a trilogy fight, Belal?
Yeah, I mean, compared to like the other fights out there, I'd rather him fight Jorge again than Jake Paul. Or I would honestly, if Nate makes his comeback to the UFC, him and Poirier would always be a fun one. If they can make that one happen.
Yeah, I want to see Nate back in the UFC personally.
I do too, but hear me out on this. What if we get a trilogy, but we do it at the Fight Pass Invitational? Get these guys to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I called a grappling match between Masvidal and Anthony Pettis, and it was fun as hell. Both competitive and went the distance, was a draw. I know Nate would be the favorite on paper because of his, jiu-jitsu pedigree, but I think Masvidal could impress a lot of people. Like, let's not forget, Masvidal choked out tough guys like Michael Chiesa in the past.
He'd be very. Yeah, sorry, TJ.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting.
I think he'd be very competitive. I think it comes down to one thing if you're doing a grappling fight. It depends on where each person's head's at. Sure, that's maybe, Belal, you agree with me. That's almost like a training session for an MMA fight, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Pardon me?
Yeah, 100%. Like if you're really going to put that effort into it to make it seem like it's a real thing, right? Or it's a real competition, or you're just like, just another day. We're just training right now, so let's just have fun.
All right, you sold me.
Exactly.
We'll
but the other thing is that Nate's head is so far. Go ahead, TJ.
Well, I just said Belal sold me. We'll do combat jiu-jitsu, palm strikes.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. You do that. The question on that is going to be...
Come on, Buffer. Just say, I agree. It would be great on UFC Fight Pass.
Here's where I disagree. I disagree because of the fact that, it's going to be
I think
not
Bruce
enough money.
Is forgetting we're
money.
live on
It comes
UFC
down to
Fight
money.
Pass.
Nate is getting Nate is getting huge paydays. I don't see him doing a grappling event for $50,000.
Okay.
Yeah, when I saw the paychecks they got for that boxing match, I was surprised. I was like, no way, over $500,000 for Nate. And then, even Chris Avila got like $250,000. I was like, sign me up.
Pays, guys. I don't know why or how.
Yeah,
or where the money comes from.
Pettis got $300,000. They claim.
Yeah, and he made a ton of money when he fought Roy Jones last year too.
Good. You know what? Good for him. Good for him. That's all I can say.
Yeah, of course.
Take the money. And, it's obviously the UFC is condoning it. I mean, they had UFC footage all over the place. So there had to be some kind of a mutual agreement there, don't you think, TJ?
Yeah. I mean, it was on Fight Pass. There's obviously some business deal being done. But no, I don't know. I mean, they said Masvidal has a bright future in boxing. I don't really know what that means. What's a bright future? He's not going to be a top 10 boxer. But like Belal said, it was an interesting, entertaining matchup. I'm not opposed to entertaining matchups, and if he wants to do it again. But I said it from jump when Nate left the UFC. He's going to fight Conor. It will be in the UFC. It has to happen. I don't know when, but we'll see. It was curious to me that he said he thinks that he can still be a champion, and if that's the case, I mean, he might be fighting the guy that we're talking to right now.
Never know. I'm sure Belal would enjoy that fight. That's for sure. And that'd be a nice little fight for you, Belal.
Yeah, I mean, any fight with more zeros at the end of your paycheck, I'll take that all day.
Absolutely, no question. Belal, Pereira, pretty outstanding, his performances. I'm sure you'd agree with me.
100%.
He's been in the UFC. Definitely can't wait to see his next fight. Let me ask you a question. With Conor pulling out due to the shattered toe, broken toe situation, and then you go on the internet and you see Chael Sonnen's comments about Conor not being heard and this, that, and the other. How do you feel when you listen to Chael talk like that? And how do you feel about Conor's pulling out, if I may ask you?
I mean, honestly, whenever Chael talks, it's just for clicks, right? You know that he's going to say something outrageous, outlandish for clicks. But Conor's also the same way as well, where Conor, if a big fight's coming up, he'll put out a random tweet or say something just for that attention. Both of them, they both know how to sway the MMA fans, how to get the fans talking, how to get people wanting to talk about them. I mean, I understand why Conor would pull out if it's not 100%. I mean, it's a toe is a toe, but like he's in a different part of his career, like Pereira said. Pereira, I'm gonna fight with a broken toe because I'm still in that hunger stage. Conor, he's full. He's not hungry anymore. He's at that point now where he's like past dessert. He's on the third or fourth, fifth course, and he's just doing it for fun now. So he doesn't have to rush it. And he's at that point now. If he loses one more, now the fans are gonna be like, all right, you're done. If you can't beat Michael Chandler, who I think is tailor-made for him to go in there and knock out, it's like you're done with. And I think he loves that spotlight, that limelight so much that he's like, I got to be 100%. I'm not taking any chances or not being full healthy to fight.
It's interesting you say that because when I've talked to a couple of fighters, they have the same opinion that Michael Chandler's handpicked for Conor.
Oh, I agree with that too.
You do?
Yeah, I look at it kind of like the Cerrone fight, right? Where Chandler, obviously, when you think about him, what does he have? 2 wins in the UFC against Hooker and Ferguson, and both those guys were on the downturn when he won those fights. So I think stylistically, when I'm looking at it, he gets hit a lot, and we know Conor has that one-punch power, and Chandler's not going to wrestle him. Chandler's going to go in there and bang with him. So it's a fun fight for the fans, but I think it's going to end up being like a Cerrone fight where Chandler's just happy to be there.
Yeah, and I think it was either Donald or somebody else I heard quoted saying that, when you're facing Conor down, whether he hasn't fought in a year, 2 years, or whatever the case might be, power's the last thing to go. We all know that. But he's so long that it's hard to judge where his punches come from and how hard they are when they hit you. I've heard this from more than one individual.
The thing, though, about Chandler, Buff, and I think Belal mentioned it, is to me, I think he has a clear path to victory and beat Conor, but he doesn't go down that path often. He has a great wrestling pedigree, but he wants to go out there and entertain, and God bless him for it. He's been in some phenomenal fights that, are all-time classics, but I think that he would neglect his wrestling to put on a show, and that would ultimately be why I picked Conor McGregor in that fight.
Yeah, to go out in that first round and just bang silly.
Yeah, because he gets hit. I mean, he's not afraid to get hit. It works out sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't.
And especially this long layoff, his timing's going to be off, his distance is going to be off, and it's going to be like a perfect stylistic matchup for Conor.
Yeah.
All right, I'm with you guys. You know what? It's a fight that I'd love to see. I don't feel bad for Conor because he's swimming in cash, which is all good.
Yeah.
But, Michael's been sitting around, what now, 2 years? It's a long time.
It feels longer than that even.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. We'll get it. We'll get it eventually.
I know he's got sponsors and everything. I don't know if there's anything given to him for a fight that was planned that didn't happen. I don't know if that happens at all.
Here's the thing. I don't know Michael Chandler's expenses or his income and output.
None of our business.
But the bottom line is he strikes me as a very smart individual. I don't think he's hurt.
He is. I agree.
Yeah, I think he's doing just fine. And, credit to him. I mean, Belal, you stood your ground to make sure that you're the next welterweight title challenger. Chandler's standing his ground to make sure that he's the next guy to stand in front of Conor McGregor.
Yeah, right. And we're at 2 different points in our career where I'm still in that point where I could get that title. I think for himself is like, do you want to fight one of these young up-and-comers? Do you want to fight Arman? Or do you want to sit there, all right, I'll wait for this Conor fight. I don't need to fight one of these young killers because he's already fought Poirier, he lost. He already fought Oliveira, he lost. He fought Gaethje, he lost. So the next guys for him to fight are going to be the Saint Denis, the Fizievs. And it's like, you're not going to gain much from beating them.
No, those fights don't make sense for him.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you better than anybody Belal knows you got to pick and choose your fights correctly, right?
Exactly, right? Because one loss will put you back so far, especially if you're still chasing that gold. For Chandler now, I think he knows that he's far away from that gold. So now he's so close to getting that red panty night, and he doesn't want to lose it.
Well, speaking of red panty night, yours is going to be in Manchester, England in a couple weeks, which doesn't happen to be your home territory. How do you feel about walking out in what is pretty much a brutal home field advantage when it comes to the cheers and jeers from the crowd? How does that affect you?
Honestly, for my journey, for the way I fought, like I think it was written this way. It was supposed to happen this way. Like it was never supposed to be easy for me. But I'm hoping that 5 a.m. start time, these people are all going to be tired and sleepy that they're not even going to freaking think about cheering or booing.
That was my next question. The show ends at 6:30 in the morning, which means you go on around 5. So you're going to get to England when? Are you there now?
No, I'm getting on there the week of. So I'm going to
Week
try to
of.
stay on American time zone the whole time anyway, because I'm going to be fighting on American time zone.
Okay, that was my question, and actually that makes complete sense. And I haven't even done my sleep pattern yet, but I guess that's the same for me too. I got to do the same thing.
Yeah. I've been messing around with some like little tricks and things like that of just sleeping with certain sounds and stuff like that. But we're getting, I'm just making sure that I sleep during the day. There's no sound around me. Make sure that the hotel room has blackout curtains, a comfy pillow, and I'll be able to just sleep during the day the whole time.
I
All right,
started
well, I wore my special
traveling.
Smoking Joe Frazier shirt just for you, Bilal, because we all now know how he knocked people out. Maybe he'll give you a little incentive. And I have total respect for Leon. I have nothing against Leon. I like the man. I'm proud of him. I'm always made the best man win. But special individuals are special individuals, Bilal.
My brother, appreciate you. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are underestimating the fact now that this is my Super Bowl, right? This is where you go all out. There is no more holding back anymore. There is no like doing this or doing that. Now it's where I empty out my playbook. I empty out all my bullets, and I think that the world and the UFC and the fans, they're all going to see the best version of myself.
Very cool. Well, you better believe it. You know you're going to see the best version of Leon, so you got to go out there and two of you just put on a show. And again, I say with all respect to each of you, being enamored of each of you as fighters, may the best man win. Is this the first time Leon has defended? No, he defended before, right? When we were in England last.
Yeah, I think he fought Usman in England as well. Their second fight.
All right. Well, he's getting the home field advantage on each occasion. This weekend there's a UFC in Denver, Colorado, which I will not be announcing, but the main event is very interesting. The return of Rose Namajunas fighting Tracy Cortez. How do you see that fight going, Bilal?
I'm excited for it. I know Tracy took this fight kind of like short notice, but Rose is an OG of the game. And she has kind of those fights where she looks like a killer, amazing, the best, and then she has kind of those next fights where she doesn't look as great. I think for her now, she knows it's a big moment for her to fight this young up and comer that's hungry, that's starving, to show that she's still in that title picture, she's still in that title reign, and she knows if she wins this fight right here, her name's big enough to get another title shot right off of it.
Absolutely, without question. I mean, Rose is phenomenal. There could come a time when I say the one and only Rose Namajunas too. I mean, considering her pedigree and everything she's done, in her time.
Yeah, she's earned it, right? People forget how good she was, and her knockout of Wei Li. Like they forget it quickly, right? Once you're not in the picture so long, and sometimes she takes a little bit too long of a break. But yeah, she's been one of the best female fighters out here.
She's had two Hall of Fame runs in the UFC. You know what I mean?
I mean, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot that can be said about Rose. Let's get off UFC for a second here. What do we got coming up here? Are you a big soccer fan?
I'm not. I was trying to get into soccer now, but my coach literally just went to watch the Argentina match yesterday, and I think it was New Jersey. He flew out last night, and he flew back in this morning just to make it to practice, but he had tickets to the game.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, my brother Michael, he's going down to Miami this weekend to announce the Copa
America.
Yeah, the Copa American game. Shakira, he's going to do halftime with Shakira, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, it should be dope on ESPN. That's a big show for sure. Are you a lover of swimming in the ocean, Bilal?
We have a lake in Chicago, but I love swimming in a lake, yeah.
Oh, lakes are okay. You're safe there. Shark attacks are going up all over the place. I don't know anything about TJ. Have you seen this?
Yeah, no, it's been scary off the coast of California this summer.
Yeah. Oh, wow, really?
Oh, yeah, we had a 46-year-old man injured in a shark attack in San Diego. We had another one that was attacked near here. Florida teens bitten, and in South Padre Island, one shark attacked like 4 different people in the same day.
Yeah, this is why I am an avid indoorsman.
It's very rare that you could ever get attacked by a shark, but they are on the rise. Just the population's growing. More people swimming, more sharks swimming. But you know what? Just go out and enjoy yourself. When it's your time, it's your time. I think that one thing I read recently that was a little more wild as I look at this, a man was stopped at customs in China. He stuffed 100 snakes, live snakes, into his pants and tried to go through
What?
customs with 100 snakes in his pants.
No
I didn't-
way.
Yeah,
I
how
didn't
the
know
heck
where
do
you
do
were going to
that?
say they were stuffed, and I don't know if I'm upset or concerned about the fact that it was just his pants.
104 snakes. Could you imagine that?
No.
That is wild.
It's
Like
unbelievable.
that Snakes in the Plane movie. Oh my god, that would be crazy if he
Yeah.
got through. Imagine.
Does it
That
say in
definitely
the
was snakes in
story,
a plane if he was going through customs. I mean, that was snakes on a plane.
Bruce,
No matter
does
how
it
you
say,
cut it.
Does it say in the story, Bruce, whether or not they were in containers or were they
Yeah,
just
they were in
his
bags.
pants? Okay.
So
They were in
weird.
bags wrapped it like two or three bags or 2 bags wrapped within his clothing.
So
Wow.
did customs say, is that a snake in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Nice. I knew one of you was going to say that eventually. Oh man. Hey, these bold robberies that are happening in stores around the world are getting a little crazy. You know, in Paris, a Chanel place was robbed at 5:15 a.m. They broke in. $10 million in goods they got out of the store.
Wow.
$10 million, 6 million
That's a-
euros, or 10 million American. That's crazy.
Well, I know Chanel's a high-end store, but honestly, I didn't even think that they would have had $10 million worth of goods in stock at any one time.
That inventory had to be
Phenomenal
nuts.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. They must have literally cleared out that whole store.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
wild. Yeah.
And you know what I'm reading about too? Like Legos. You buy Legos for your kids, your son still?
Yeah,
DJ?
yeah. So to correct you, Bruce, it's not Legos. The plural of Lego is Lego.
Lego, okay. Shows you how much I buy them.
I mean, I hate them. Bruce, these things are the worst things in the world. If you step on a Lego ever barefoot, your life is over. It flashes before your eyes. The pain is searing. I hate Lego.
Well, there's a huge resale value, obviously, because police just recovered more than $200,000 worth of the stolen toys that were going to be sold on the black market. I mean, people buy this stuff like crazy.
Wow.
A black market Lego?
That is wild.
That's crazy.
It's going to be Brandon Moreno buying all of them.
I mean, if you're going to, $200,000 is a lot of money, but if you're going to steal big. I mean,
Yeah.
Legos?
Yes.
Really? Crazy.
That's wild.
If you were in a cycling race, Bilal, you're in a race. You're in a triathlon. You're in the Tour de France. Let's say the Tour de France. Your wife is watching you, okay, and you want to stop and give her a kiss when you're in the middle of your race. Do you think that should be allowed?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to mess up my time, right? If it's a race, if I'm deciding to stop, it's only going to mess up me. So, I mean, is it not allowed?
Well, French cyclist Julien Bernard, he offered he apologized, but he was fined for stopping to kiss his wife, during a stage of the Tour de France.
Where
Wow.
was he in the field, Buff? Was he like dead last? Was he in the middle? Because no one that has a chance to win is going to stop.
That's what I would say that too, but he stopped and kissed his wife. What can I say?
Right. But
And
did
they
he have a
find
chance
you?
to
That's
win?
wild.
They
But
fined
did he
him.
have a chance to win? That's what I'm curious.
It doesn't say, but I'm with you, TJ. I mean, if he had a chance to win, why the heck would he stop?
Right, yeah. I mean, I understand it's cute and it's like an aw shucks moment, but it's also kind of disrespectful to the sport in a way.
In a way, well, that's the point. That's what they said. It hurt
Yeah.
the image of the sport.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. No question. Bilal, what's the name? What your T-shirt you have that John Anik's selling at johnanik.com?
Yeah, so I just came out with a bunch of new designs for the fight week. Shout out to Joe Romero. He's really good. He does John Anik's One More Sleep designs, and he made me about 5 or 6 designs for this fight. Yeah, they're all really cool. So if any of the fans want to go out, check it out. johnanik.com. Appreciate everybody. But yeah, they're sick. They're epic, man.
There
Weren't you with Millions though at one point?
Yeah, I'm still with Millions as well. But with this one, we're just trying to rush it because we did it through him. So we literally just brought him out this week. So we did it quickly. So hopefully that his website will be able to push him out before the fight.
Knowing John, it will. But thanks for being on my company, millions.co.
Always appreciate it, Joe.
There are a lot of top lists, right? Like top 5 lists, top 10 lists in MMA. I have a top 3 list in MMA, and Belal Muhammad is on it. The 2 others are Chael Sonnen and the Schmo, and the list is who looks best rocking sunglasses in the MMA. Belal Muhammad might be number 1.
I got to get Bilal. Bilal rocks those glasses very, very well. I'm going, by the way, guys, I'm going to the World Series of Poker. I'll be wearing my sunglasses starting Friday. I'm going to go back to the $50,000 high roller tourney on Friday at the World Series of Poker. The one I made the final table a few weeks ago.
Congrats, man. I saw that. That's awesome, bro. Yeah. I love watching the World Series of Poker whenever it's on ESPN, too.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll be rocking my sunglasses. I'm going to go back to take the whole thing down. I want to win the bracelet, the title, everything. So I'll keep abreast on it. I'll post stuff on Instagram and Twitter about my status and
Let's go.
where it is. And while I'm there, I'm going to rock the new. I'm going to share with you guys the new cologne.
Let's
It's
go.
Iconic.
It's a new one?
It's a new one.
All right.
It's called Iconic.
I know the last one smelled kind of like hints of vanilla. Is what
Vanilla
it was
and
described
caramel.
as?
This is much different.
Okay.
But it's going to be it's awesome. That's all I can tell you. It definitely is awesome. So you get a viewpoint. It's not going to be for sale here for a couple weeks, but it's happening.
I'm not going to say names, but I heard a former UFC title challenger, when he would prepare for fights, he would stop showering about 2 weeks before the fight and would just smell really bad.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine when you're cutting weight, you have to sweat and everything. So it's just, yeah, I don't want to know who that guy is, but it's probably not clean.
I'll
And
tell
he's
you
a
guys-
title challenger?
Yeah, I'll send the message after we get off the air.
You got to tell us. You can't tell us. Who
Oh,
it
I'm
is?
not. No, I'm not going to. No, this guy's dirty, man. I don't want him.
That's
coming after me.
disgusting, yeah.
I won't spread that. Okay, a few little collectibles talk. You like collectibles, Bilal?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a couple things. Patrick Mahomes, and a modern day rookie card, which was made by Panini National Treasures card, 2017 issue, just sold for $173,000 last week.
Wow.
I mean, for a modern day card to go for that kind of money, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And this is something I think is ridiculous. O.J. Simpson's Bank of America credit card sold on eBay or sold at auction. How much do you think it sold for?
10,000?
10,000. Exactly.
10,000? Wow, that's wild. People will do anything for collectibles, right? Like, what are you doing with
Well,
it?
some people, that's why. I mean, they're so valuable. I'm a big memorabilia collector, as we talk about all the time on the show, but there's certain things I have absolutely no interest.
I did not know how big the card collecting game was, but I've done like a couple of meet and greets at card places, and they were telling me how big it is. And yeah, it was wild. Like how you said, there's $100,000 cards. I know that there was like 3 LeBron James cards that went for like $300,000, I think.
How
Yeah.
old are you, Bilal?
35.
35. So like you're in that same sort of age demographic as me. Like the baseball cards from our childhood, they're worth nothing. Like
Exactly, right?
They were
nothing.
printing paper. They were just overprinting and overprinting and overprinting. The cards I collect are all pre-1970, maybe
Yeah.
75.
But we've talked a lot about this, Bruce, on the show in the past. Now you have these companies that are making cards straight out the box. As you rip them open, they're worth $500, $600, $700. And the kids these days, they actually have something worth buying and collecting.
Buying, collecting, and holding on to it. All depends on how many cards are made. All I can tell you is the early Topps UFC cards from whatever it was, those are through the roof right now. And the Panini
That's wild.
cards are limited edition. They're worth collecting too. You know, here's how ridiculous. I'll say one more thing. Louis Vuitton made a microscopic handbag, a Louis Vuitton handbag that you can't even see. It literally fits in the microscopic area of your thumb, but it's a real life Louis Vuitton tote bag, right?
So you have to have a microscope to look at it?
Yes, it measures 657 by 222 by 700 micrometers.
What?
Micrometers.
Okay.
This is wild.
Somebody
Tell me how
bought
much
it for
this thing is.
$63,750.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's basically an NFT. It doesn't really
I
exist.
want to know how this person looks.
I don't know, but I mean, if they're going to wear it, how do you wear it? Whatever. It's not about wearing it. But yes, it's like an NFT, yet it's not an NFT, yet it's like an NFT because you can't see.
Maybe it was Hezbollah.
Dude, if that's funny. If I come over to Bilal's house and Bilal says, TJ, look at my new collectible, and I have to look through a microscope, what? No, not a real thing. What are you doing? People have too much money.
I agree. All right, Bilal, we're going to let you go. Before we do, I want to let you know on Netflix, I watched the remake of Beverly Hills Cop, the sequel, or the new
Oh, how was
Beverly
it?
Hills Cop movie. It's enjoyable. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's enjoyable. If you were a fan of the original, I'd watch it. I mean, the actors obviously have aged, but still, good plot. Eddie Murphy doing his thing. I'll give it a 7.5 on
Ooh,
a scale of 1 to 10. So
I'll
it's
check
worth
it out.
watching. Yep. You just train, Bilal. You train and you relax. Okay?
Good point.
He's got a long flight. You know, maybe he can get it on digital or something.
Exactly. All right, guys. Let's sign off. Bilal, anything you want to let the audience know? Your T-shirt, your podcast, whatever the case may be.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for having me on. And yeah, July 27th and new, baby. Can't wait for it to be announced.
Can't wait to be there announcing it with you, and can't wait to watch. That's for sure. TJ?
Now you know the name. Will it be uttered? It probably won't be, but I would love it to be. Follow me on all social media at TJ DeSantis. Do extra rounds on Fight Pass, all that fun business. Bilal's been on. He's basically a shareholder in this thing that I do on Fight Pass. And yeah, Bilal, go get it done, man. We're pulling for you. Low key, I'm not supposed to cheer for anybody either, but I've never met Leon Edwards in my life, so go get it done.
Hey,
Thank you, my brother.
Leon's a good man. He's a good man.
Sure he is.
Yeah, it's all good. But Bilal, you're our man. You're on the show. Wish you the best. Can't wait to watch you rock the octagon. May the best man win. I say that out of total respect again. But big cheers, my friend. Okay.
Thank you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. See you guys soon.